Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Microdose Your Wellness. Do you struggle to make change, or if you do make change, do you struggle to make it last? My next guest is Uma Naralkar, and she's a holistic health coach. She helps women create long lasting change by taking small, actionable steps. And actually, the same premise and reason why I chose to name this show Microdose Your Wellness. After a few instances in her teens where weight was an issue, and in her early 20s when she was working at a highly stressful job, kind of demanded all of her time, no time for exercise, slacking on her diet. Sound familiar? All of that created major hormonal imbalances, serious weight gain, and she struggled to get pregnant. So she took matters into her own hands to regain control of her health and her life by taking small steps. She cooked at home, was eating more whole foods and a nutrient dense diet. She was going on walks as her exercise and loved it. And within a short amount of time, she was able to conceive. And she also became a certified health coach because she realized she was not alone in this struggle and she wanted to share her process with other women. Uma created Own with a Twist and has coached women both one-on-one and in larger group settings. And starting August 17th, she's hosting a 10-week challenge, and you can sign up on her website, ownwithatwist.com. She believes in the power of small steps with the support of community. And with that, Uma Naralkar. So I love that color on you. That it's wonderful. It just like it makes it's serving you
It's
well.
my current favorite, and look, it goes well with my background. I think that's
Right.
it's a win-win.
And so if you were, if Rate My Skype Room was to, see you, I think that they would probably give you a 10 out of 10, like the flower placement, you match your background.
Oh my
It's
God.
wonderful. Yeah.
I am blown away. I gotta go check it out. Rate my
Uh,
Skype room.
yeah, it's like the best Twitter handle between that and Sarah Cooper, that's what's getting me through. I
Oh
don't
my.
know. Have you seen Sarah Cooper's videos?
I have, but I have not checked the Skype room.
Oh, yes. Well, those are my two. That's currently what's getting me through quarantine are those two things, right? Like,
Oh my
what else
God.
do we have to look forward to? But anyway, so how are you doing with the shelter in place? I mean, like LA's gotten a little bit crazy again. And so, it was like free.
LA is getting crazier and crazier, and I feel like people are not taking it as seriously as they should. I feel like there's a lot of people, especially on the west side, without masks and a lot of crowds. And yeah, I think the beaches are full, and I think we're kind of bringing it all on upon ourselves a little bit. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But you know what? Here's the thing. I don't think the COVID-19 is going anywhere, right? I mean, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. And this is kind of our new normal. And I think it's important to acknowledge that instead of just constantly thinking about what we would be doing when it's all over.
I
You know,
I agree with you. I mean, this is the new normal. This is, we've had 3 months or whatever it's been at this point. I don't even know. I've kind of
there's
lost count.
more,
Yeah, it
right?
started, like mid-March is when I took my overnighter to Argentina, that's the marker of time for me is March 12th,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I guess, here we are, it's almost July and this is just how it is. I agree. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. So how can you respond to the current situation? This is just the what so right now. So what do you do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, yeah, I would love to be in a yoga studio. I would love to be like hanging out with you and having a girls' night, which we're long overdue for. We were long overdue before this happened.
I know.
And so, here it is. But so I agree with you. It's like, all right, so how are we responding to it? So how are you responding to it? Because I know, you have this thriving practice. You help women with their nutrition and get in shape and all of these things. And, I know that a lot of your business was online before. So, has anything really shifted or changed in that
Oh my
time?
gosh, so much, so
Yeah.
much. You know, it's funny. I've been on a couple of podcasts before, and this always comes up, right? Like, oh, you always work from home, so it's not really that different for you. But my kids didn't, homeschool, and
Right.
my husband didn't work from home, and I didn't. I just had a little bit of help, and all that's gone. So it's a completely different dynamic when everyone's I feel like there's such a massive emotional element that comes into play when you have, all your family members constantly together. And, it's just, I feel like it's been a real test of relationships. Like me and my husband, me and my kids, we really had to figure out how to communicate with each other. And yeah, it took a little bit. The first couple of weeks were hard because I worked from home and everyone else was at home. So how do I fit that in? And how does everyone else, understand that? And we finally came up with this idea of colors. And I think it's worked pretty well. And so when I'm with a client, I'm wearing black. I'm just wearing black, right? And that basically means that if they're outside my window or if they need me and if I'm in black, then they need to hold off. And it works so well for the kids.
It's
I
so
know it sounds
smart.
really elementary,
No, I think
but
that's brilliant.
or like a hat. So I've been talking to my other clients about this. Just wear a hat, like when you're busy, right? Or something that makes the kids like understand that this is your prop where you're busy. And yeah, I think that works so much easier than like trying to communicate it with them and be like, I'm on the computer. That doesn't mean anything to
Right.
them.
It's like the scrunchie on the door when you
Yeah.
lived in the dorms, right? I never lived in the dorms, but I heard about those scrunchies with
Exactly.
socks on the
Like
door,
things
whatever
that
you
have,
need to
yeah.
use, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whatever you need to use. And but I have to say, I mean, it's a new normal, right? So if you keep going back to comparing it with our old normal, and like you were saying, I'd love it if I could just go to a yoga studio or have a big party in my backyard or whatever it is that life looks like for you, or even just simple pleasures like going and having brunch at a restaurant. I would love that, but we are here right now. And I think there are some interestingly good things that are happening as well, because I feel like we're forced to look at all the other stuff that kind of was pushed under the rug. Especially I feel like that, like even with parenting, right? Like, I mean, I was like such a part-time parent. My kids were at school, then they were at their classes or whatever, and it was like 2.5 hours of parenting, which was fabulous. Now it's like 27 hours, right?
You just
Even
added
with
3 hours to the day. That's how much the effect it
such a
lack.
massive effect. And or it's just even my relationship with my husband, I just feel like we're busy, we're doing our own things. You come together for a pretty limited time if you think about it, when you're going about your life, and that's so much easier, or I would say it's different, right? So I do feel like personality wise and relationships wise, I think we had to do a lot of work, and it was kind of like going through this intense therapy in like 6 weeks where we are like really going to come out stronger on the other side. um, but that being said, that I do think that things like rituals and just lifestyle practices that are going to help you as an individual to stay grounded and to kind of stay the most productive in all this chaos is really important, right? It's key, because you can have all sorts of dynamics with other people in your family, or even if you are living by yourself, you're still on Zoom calls with clients, with your family members, with your friends, right? So you're going to be able to do that so much better if you are in a good place to begin with, right? So that grounding, that basic foundation, I don't think anyone else can create that for you. You really need to have those practices in place, set in for you. And also acknowledging that do what you can when you can with what you have, as against putting that whole added pressure of
Yeah. I mean, amen to that. I've moved 3 times this year, which is insane. I
this
lived in
year in
yes,
2020.
yes, this
Oh
year.
my
I lived
god.
in the same apartment in New York City for 10 years. I did not move. I
Yeah.
moved to LA and I wanted to move to a different apartment. The apartment that I moved to when I moved to LA it felt temporary. It was like, all right, this is a good landing spot. Let me get my bearings. And then I decided to move. Long story short, it was hell. And then I moved again into Silver Lake. Loved it, and then COVID hit, and it was like, all right, well, I'm not going to stay here. There's no
Yeah.
reason to do that. So I am now living amongst three of my dad, my
Yeah.
stepmom, my mom, and then my brother. So I agree with you. Like having those
Yeah.
non-negotiables in your life are so important, and I've had to figure out in a different way what that means to me. Like, what does
Correct.
movement mean? Like, I have to have my lemon water. That's but like movement's going to look different because one, I don't have a yoga studio, but also like I lived alone. I now have other people's schedules and other people's lives to assimilate into mine. So it's been challenging. And so I can in a way very differently, but relate to now you have your kids 24/7, your husband 24/7.
Yeah.
I was alone and I was,
Oh, absolutely.
and
And
now, yeah,
the key word that you used is different. It's different.
yeah,
It could mean anything. It
yeah,
doesn't, you might have kids, you might have an old grandmother that you're looking after. You might be by yourself, but now you're put in a position where you work from home. That's different, right? If you were not used to that. So acknowledging that, hey, it's different, but how can I make a few changes to, what was really good for me? And then how can I I apply it now and make the most out of it is
Yeah.
important. And
It's
what
so
works for you may not be the same for me,
And
right?
what worked for us, I think, prior to COVID may not be working. It's
100%
not working
not.
for me now. I'm not in the same location. And again, I have people. And I think for me, it's been identifying what's triggering me. Like if something's not
Yeah.
working, what is that breakdown, right? Like, holy shit, this is, if you're starting to feel that like
Yeah.
resentment's like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. So have fun with that one, right? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, like what is going to work for you? And it's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to wake up and it's all going to be perfect. I'm going to have this new normalcy, this new structure, you're gonna have to ebb and flow with it. And I think
Yeah.
that's the hard part for people is like, being resilient, sort of like, I am not a surfer by any stretch of the imagination, but like just, being nimble and going with the waves.
Yeah, going with the flow and just, yeah, trusting that it's a process and it's not going to be a one step thing either. And the day you feel that you've arrived, that might not be it either. So you might wake up the next morning and be like, oh, that was so good yesterday. What happened today? Like, which is okay, which is all right. Because I mean, I don't know, but the past 2.5 months, every day has been this new thing, don't you think? Like you open the computer, you open the phone, you hear something, and then the next day is another thing, and it's another thing. There's been so many layers of information coming at us from the outside. So that's the reason why that internal work is so much more important right now. And I feel like, especially for people who haven't been used to it, right? You're so dependent on other people and the society and the structure of whatever you're doing, to kind of control your life, right? You go to the office and then you have a boss, or you have someone else doing this and that, and then when all that's kind of taken away and you're starting with a clean slate pretty much, because you are creating your own schedule, you're creating your own rituals, it can be really tough, especially if you don't have any practice.
It's been hard for me, and I have practice, right?
You
Like
have practice, yeah.
it's been challenging, but that's what you do. You work with women to establish a foundation and establish these practices and establish a healthier lifestyle, and just changing habits. And so how has that looked? How has that changed? How has that shifted given life
Oh my God.
is completely
So
different?
much. So in the beginning of this, when it all started and people were talking about unemployment and how everyone's, losing jobs and no one's gonna do anything because people are just in this limbo. What I realized was that it's actually exactly the opposite for me, because what people are looking for is support. People are actually looking for someone else to lead them through this time and help them. There are other people who are using this time to really just work on their health, right? And I actually, it opened up so many opportunities for me. My business was already online, so that it stayed online, but my group coaching was just one small part of the business. But now it's become a much bigger thing, because just based on popular demand, what I realized was that women are doing much better when they're doing work in groups, right? So when you're working with women one-on-one, it's okay, but it was always like, yeah, but it's hard for me to find the accountability. I know I get all this, I know that this is what I should be doing, but I wish, I miss my gym, I miss that class, I miss my trainer. But the minute you put them in a group, even if it's virtual, there's that accountability, because there's someone else right there who, like, they're expecting you to show up and do the thing. And you make these new relationships. It's like your own buddy system that you create, right? So I had to actually start a couple of new group coaching courses where we're doing larger groups as against the one-on-one so much. And it's been exciting because it's a learning experience for me too. We have groups of women, between 20 and 40 women in a group. And, one woman will ask a question and everyone else is like, oh my gosh, that's what I was thinking, right? And sometimes it's even me. I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. And it's been a lot of give and take. So it's been amazing for me as well. We actually have a 10-week challenge coming up in August, and that's going to be a little longer group coaching course where we're going to go over like this whole step-by-step process, and it's going to be all about the small changes, right? Because that's what I believe in. That's what I've learned, and that's what's worked for me.
Microdose your wellness. I mean, that's why I named
Microdose
this.
your wellness. Yeah, it's a small shifts in everything that you're doing, the way you're moving, the way you're eating, the way you're thinking, so that it, creates those big shifts over time. And yeah, it works. It just works because it's tried and tested, and now we know what doesn't work. So we've taken all that out. And yeah, I'm excited. Actually, I'm really happy and excited about what's happening work-wise right now.
I love it. I agree with you. I think that for me, I enjoy groups more as well, both as a participant and as coaching. And I think, we need community, and especially
Yeah,
right now, because a lot of it has been stripped away. We don't have that
yeah,
community that we did before. So I
absolutely.
think that it's super important. And I think that it's not by accident. People are gravitating towards that style of
Yeah.
learning for sure. How did you develop your curriculum? I mean, you weren't just born
Oh
into
my
this,
gosh.
right? I
No,
mean,
I started this, it's the 10-week challenge. This is like, I don't know, if I go back to 2015, and I'll probably just start laughing, because, it just literally every round gets better, and it's just evolved over time. The way I started my business too, 12 years ago, I had a corporate job. I worked in Hollywood. I was a producer, and I was in my early 20s, and it's just those busy 24/7 type of jobs, late nights, working on the weekends, and it was exciting, but it was extremely unhealthy, and just a lot of late nights, drinking, client servicing, as they call it.
oh, I know. Yeah.
And yeah, I think I knew that it was not good for me, right? Like, I would literally feel physical pain. I was definitely tired. I felt the brain fog. Even in my early 20s, it was hard for me to focus because I was sleeping very little, honestly. And I was like operating on caffeine, didn't have much time to work out or anything. And I think I knew what was happening, but I just didn't do much about it because I was young and I could get away with it. And I was just putting on dress sizes, just feeling sluggish. And it went on for a good 3 or 4 years. And there was a point when I was in my late 20s. It was almost my 30th birthday. And me and my husband, we decided we wanted to start a family, and we started trying, and we tried and we tried. And it was a year after that, and nothing happened. And, when I finally went and started testing and went and started talking to my OB, uh, once I put the whole thing together, I had put on over 50 pounds in just 2 years, over 50 pounds. And it wasn't just the physical weight, right? It was my hormones were completely out of balance. My insulin was completely out of balance. It's like my system was just at rock bottom. And it was like a wake up call for me. And obviously at that time I did it more because I was like, if I don't do anything about this, I'm not going to be able to get pregnant. So maybe the motivation was, that, but it helped because I was like, where should I start? What should I do? So I need to go back to the basics. And I think at that point was what helped was I just started looking into nutrition and just trying to understand the science behind it, and really just came back to the basics, right? So instead of going on a diet, or which is something I could have very easily done because it would have been easy and quick, I just went back to the basics and started cooking more at home, not drinking so much, going for walks. So it was very elementary. It wasn't even like, oh, I joined the gym and I just started weight training. It was like step by step. And then when I started getting strong, I was like, oh, maybe I could join the gym. Maybe it might be interesting to lift some weights. And it was really just building in. And before I knew it, I was pregnant. I had Rishi, who's going to be 12 soon. And I think I was so scared that I'm not going to get pregnant easily again that we decided to try immediately. But this time I got pregnant
right away.
right away, like the day I decided. So they were back to back. I had kids back to back. But the thing is that it was easy and it wasn't difficult because I was always like, I had this whole thing where I was cooking and I was in my own zone. I was into the grocery shopping. I was exercising. I was doing yoga. And at that point, it was just lifestyle, right? There was absolutely no
Were
interest in
were you
making.
still working in production? Sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
I
you.
stopped working as a producer when I got pregnant with Rishi. And I did actually, that's not true. In between when I was pregnant, I also did some freelance producing. But I had absolutely, I didn't think I was going to become a nutritionist or start a career in nutrition. I was just doing it as a lifestyle. And just within those, so it was 3 years because it was 2 pregnancies, if you think about it. Just within those 3.5 years, my body just completely transformed. I mean, I had the kids, but after that, I just like dropped the baby weight, and I was feeling so good in my skin and just was happy with my life. I was just really happy, alert, and enjoying. I was like, maybe I should just, do nutrition school on the side, because I have 2 toddlers at home and it's online. And so I did the whole IIN course at that time. And while I was doing it, I was just helping friends and family, friends and
Always how
family,
it starts.
like first
Yeah.
experiment. So I was helping family and friends and neighbors. And it was just, before I knew it, it was like a ripple effect, and people came back to me. And then maybe 2 years after that, I was like, oh, maybe I should charge some money for this. It was really just step by step. And then my very first online course was actually, it was workouts. Because what happened was, I started a YouTube channel when I had, the babies running around the house, and I would do workouts with things like soup cans and water bottles and towels, and I would load them up on YouTube.
So
And
this time for you is like, I mean, you've already done the workout from home and had to like improvise with soup cans and water bottles and
totally,
shit like that. I mean, that's
this is
amazing.
like, I've been there and done it. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
you're
And
like,
I have a
okay, I can
library
show
of
you all how to quarantine hard. Like I can do this. I had 2 kids, put
yeah.
myself through nutrition school
And I was
online.
in quarantine. Right? Because where
Right,
would
exactly.
I go?
Like, where are you going with 2 kids? Like, I don't have 2 kids. I have plants, which, I mean, that's what I can manage to take care of right now.
2 kids is okay, but 2 kids under the age of 2 is a completely different ball game, because you're like nursing and someone's puking, and it's like,
Sounds really not
not
fun.
the
That
most.
sounds terrible,
And then
actually.
you're trying to work out. No, it was intense. And my husband at that time, my husband's he's a cinematographer. So when he's shooting, he's gone. It's not like he's a 9 to 5. So there were months when he would be out on location, and I'm like there with the kids, and it was this whole other life, like, which is over now. But that's how On with the Twist evolved. And it's a long story, but if I want to just cut it short, what I want to say is that, a lot of times, just something happens and you pivot, right? Like life just takes you somewhere.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get scared because it's so different from what they're used to, and they don't dive in, and there's this resistance, right? Which I felt too, because I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I don't know anything about nutrition.
Literally every day. I mean, yeah.
But just dip into it for a second and see what happens, because I've seen so many women just blossom from that kind of stuff. And we're talking about back in 2014, right? So it was 8 years ago. So it's been a long journey. And so for the first 2 years, it was me doing everything, like writing emails and pretending to be my assistant, and just doing everything on my own. But it slowly got busier, and then now I have a staff, and now we have an online business, and then I have an office. But it was really just baby steps of building this, and getting to where we're at. And it's still a learning process. It's still like 2 months ago, as I said, we went from doing small groups to now we're doing larger groups, and we're doing more group coaching. And it's just listening to what your clients want and really paying attention and catering to them, right? That's what really works the most, or has worked the most for me.
That's amazing. And I love the name of your business, Om with a Twist. I mean, it's just, it is who you are. I mean, I know you, and it's just, it's like very calm and serene. And then it's like, there's a little
twist.
Yeah, there's a little twist. I mean, look, we all have to have it. Like, we can't be so like,
thank you though, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, do you have an age range of women that you work with, or is it sort of like it's women?
So again, it didn't start like that.
Yeah, I trust me.
Working, I was like, I'll take my 15-year-old cousin, and I'll take my 60-year-old aunt, and I'll just work with everyone. And it's actually okay, because with women, I feel that no matter what age group you're in, we are always transitioning, right? So you're going through puberty, then you're going through your birthing age, then you're going through perimenopause, which can be like a 20-year period, and then you're menopausal and postmenopausal. So we're always transitioning, and all of these transitions, as you know, are controlled by our hormones, majority of them, and as well as our insulin resistance, but mainly our hormones. And so originally I did start working just with everyone, but just because women relate to me more, based on the fact that I've had kids and where I'm at age wise. So I get more clients who are similar to me. So women who are, either who are just postpartum, or who've had kids and who are at that point where they're perimenopausal, or they want to lose their baby weight. A lot of women wait till they have all their kids. It's very interesting. So if you want to have 3 kids, they will have their kids, and then they're like, oh my gosh, I just put on like 15 pounds and it's stubborn, it's not going, what should I do? So I have that kind of those kind of clients. And I also have younger women who are trying to conceive, like PCOD and PCOS clients, because I deal with hormones, fat loss, and digestive health, and it's all kind of interconnected, right?
Yeah.
So when I get the hormonal imbalance clients, then a lot of times they also want to lose body fat because it's interconnected, or so that's the reason why. But the age range would be, so I'm going to be 40 this year, so around that. So I would say 10 years before and after 40. That's kind of my age range. And it's just anyone who wants to feel better. And when I say feel better, it obviously is connected to looking better, because that's how we feel better. And so I think that anyone who wants to feel better, just be more confident in their skin, is my client.
Yeah,
That's how I
totally.
look at it.
It makes sense. And do they come to you, do they go for blood work, anything like that? Or how does that
Yeah,
look?
so it's a couple of different ways. There are some women who just come to me because of referrals through other clients, and they just want to lose 15 pounds, or they want to they already have diagnosed, let's say, insulin resistance, okay, or they're pre-diabetic, let's say, and they want to just get that in check before it gets bad, right? So they're already pre-diagnosed, so that can happen. I also get referrals from physicians. So I work with a couple of physicians in the Santa Monica area. I work with a OBGYN, a functional OBGYN, as well as a gastrointestinal doctor. So there are patients who have been through treatments for, like, let's say SIBO or GERD and things like that, and I'll do the maintenance. So I will work with them just to make sure that their diet is on point, so that they don't get another episode. As well as, obviously, the OB clients are usually the PCOD, PCOS clients, where they've been diagnosed with a hormonal imbalance. They sometimes are on hormone therapy, but a lot of times not, because it's younger girls, and you want to make sure that they first get all the other lifestyle factors right before putting them on any replacement therapy. So there's different spaces. I also get a lot of clients just online through my Instagram, which is amazing. It's like through DMs, and just it's this whole new thing, which I wasn't even on Instagram up until 2 years ago. So it's magical, and I've connected to you, right?
I know. Do you know that a year ago today, like, we were in Arizona a
Oh
year
my
ago?
God, stop reminding me
I
of that.
know. I'm so sad.
That
That's
was
great.
special. That
It
was
was
so
such a
special.
wonderful experience. And I mean, yeah, we met, and, Amber and all of the, all of the people. I know. Just, it's,
I just feel like sometimes it's just, destiny puts you in this place with the right people. And I mean, there were enough people there. There were like over 200 women there, but we found each other and we connected, and it was just surreal. I hope we can go back soon.
I hope, yeah, I'm hoping next year. But I want to go back to, one, your Instagram game. You're
Yeah.
on point, you're killing it. And the tips that you offer people on Instagram are always, they're just so easy and attainable, right? Like, it is that microdose your wellness. It is that small step. It's like, how can you do this? So are there any, tips, tricks, 1, 2, 3, however many that you want to impart on the people that are listening or watching? What can they do if they're kind of feeling that sluggish, or they're not necessarily, I don't have the right equipment to work out, or, what things would you say to, like, get your ass in gear? And I don't mean to
So,
say it so
okay,
rude,
so
but
there's
like,
many different things. There are many different directions we can go in, but the way I look at it, just to simplify this so that it's like tangible for people, I just feel like, your optimal health, which is like the best health that you can be in, where you're
mhm,
feeling good and you're looking good, both physically and mentally. It sits on a tripod, right? So this is your optimal health, and your tripod obviously has three pillars to it. And when one of these pillars is like wobbly, or let's say it collapses, then so does the entire tripod.
yeah,
And that's all these symptoms that you get. Sometimes it's small symptoms like you're getting insomnia, you're putting on a little bit of weight, sometimes it's migraines, and sometimes it's bigger, right? Like you could have some kind of functional autoimmune issue shoot up all of a sudden. So what can you do every day which can help to stabilize and strengthen these pillars? So the first one obviously is food, right? It's nutrition. What you're going to eat is going to play a big role in your outcome. And with that, I feel the easiest trick or the easiest tip that I can give anyone is intermittent fasting. And with intermittent fasting, I just feel like it's such a big thing, right? Like, how do we do this? And it's so unattainable. But I think like just the basics, like maybe start with 12 hours. So if you've had your dinner at 7 p.m., then just don't eat or drink anything other than water till 7 a.m. the next morning. That's completely doable. If you
super
start
easy to
with
do. Yeah.
that's just pretty, or whatever, you can eat later and start later. If whatever your lifestyle is, you can switch it up accordingly, but just giving your digestive system a 12-hour break from food is going to make such a huge difference. It's going to help with your insulin resistance, it's going to help with digestion, it's going to help with hormonal balance as well. It's just a very simple thing. It doesn't cost you anything. So start with that, start there. And once you get used to it, once you're like good with the 12 hours, then you can build it up. You can do 14 or 16 hours. You can throw in a couple of days of longer fasts. And there's so many levels of it. Then what you're eating during the fasting window can come in. But just leaving all that aside, if you're like a complete beginner, you're like, I don't know what she's talking about, I can do this 12-hour thing, that's good enough. That's great. Just whatever time you're done eating today, just don't eat for 12 hours after that. Just have water, right? So that's with nutrition. The second pillar is movement. Obviously, it's how active you are, right? So it's not necessarily that, oh, I clocked in and I got my 30 minutes of workout in every single day, but it's more like just consciously being active. So maybe, just walking between your home, work, whatever sessions that you do, because a lot of us are now sitting a lot. We're not even commuting to work anymore. So just consciously getting up and maybe doing like 15 squats and like sitting back, or just walking up and down, or going outside, whatever that looks like for you, or getting up and doing, do you know what Surya Namaskars are? They're sun salutations. So getting up and doing like maybe 5 sun salutations in the morning. Or like it doesn't have to be big, is what I'm saying. Just being consciously active, just walking to the grocery store instead of taking your car, or taking the stairs instead of taking the elevator, or carrying your grocery bags instead of using a cart, whatever that is. So
Yeah.
just small things, I think they add up. And I think yesterday I was on the trampoline with my boys for 1 minute. It was literally 60 seconds. I thought I was going to die. I really did. It is intense. It's
It's
intense.
intense. I also,
Oh God.
trampolines scare the shit out of me anyway, because I think that I'm going to fall and break something or
I felt that too.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was going to die because of injury as well as get a heart attack because it
Yeah,
was intense.
it's intense. I want to talk a little bit about intermittent fasting because I
Yeah.
find it super interesting and it's definitely helped me. I didn't realize I was actually intermittent fasting. I did it sort of by accident years
I
ago
loved it.
because I would get up and I would go to yoga in the morning. The
Yeah.
worst thing that you could do before you go to a hot yoga class is eat, because the thought, like, you will
Yeah.
literally vomit,
Yeah.
which is not cute. Nobody wants to smell that in a hot room anyway. But
Oh
so
God.
I
No.
would go, like, I would just essentially intermittent fast, and I didn't realize I was doing it. How many days a week do you do it?
Okay. So with intermittent fasting, if you're a beginner, then I would say do it for 12 hours every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you are building up to the 14, 16, 18-hour mark, then I would do it 3 times a week. even if you do one day of that 18 to 24-hour fast, that has like massive benefits. But the rest of the time, I would do between 12 and 14 hours. And just like what you said, doing a workout right before you break your fast, like a fasted workout, is brilliant, because that's just going to push that autophagy as well as that fat burn, right? So both the benefits. But if you can just do 12 hours every day, I think that's like a really good beginning. The way I do it is, and just so you know, I've been doing for years now. It's been 3.5, 4 years. I will do 14-hour fasts on most days, and then I do 2 long ones. And I do one on, typically it'll be a Thursday, and then on the weekend, because just by default, I don't wake up early on the weekend.
You're lucky.
It's just easier for me to sustain that fast a little bit. So, and when I say early, I mean, I don't wake up at 5 a.m. and do my morning routine and stuff. I wake up later. Like,
I don't even understand that. I am such an early morning person. Like,
that's amazing though. I mean, if you love to wake up in the morning, there's nothing like it. Like for people like us, I mean, I have to like put an alarm and wake up. And when I'm up, I'm good, but I'm not inherently a morning person. But that doesn't mean I'm a night person either. I sleep early. So I don't know. I'm an old person.
I love it. And I'm older than you are, so don't worry about it. But I like going to bed early and getting up early. But I mean, even if I stay up late, which I've done the last few nights now.
Yeah.
5:30.
You still wake up early. Oh my gosh. No, I'm not home. No. I put an alarm for like 4:45, 15 more minutes. It rings again. And then I'm actually out of my bed by like 5:15. And I'm a little bit cranky till about 5:30, and then I'm fine. So
yeah.
No, lucky you. That's not me. That's definitely not me.
I don't know. I was never
But when
growing
you
up.
build that, you can do the longer, the 18 to 24-hour fasts, like maybe even once a week. Honestly, you don't have to, and it's really not that hard if you think about it, right? Like if you have your dinner at, let's say, 5 p.m., you're done by 6, right? And then you unwind, you go to bed, you wake up in the morning. You're basically just skipping a breakfast and lunch one day. That's it. And then you're having your early dinner again. Or you can even have a little fatty snack, like maybe up to 100 calories even, at that 16-hour mark, and then break your fast later. There's so many variations to intermittent fasting once you start digging into it. But I was talking about 3 pillars to that tripod, and we talked about intermittent fasting for nutrition, and then movement, and just staying active. But the third, which is kind of the most important, is mindset, or your mind, right? Because that's kind of the missing piece, which everyone seems to miss. Like we're so good at knowing what to eat and what we should do for exercise, and hiring the trainer and whatever, getting that fat loss kit. But it's just when this is not on board, everything is kind of messed up and it doesn't really work. So those practices, and I know that you're very good at this, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because just creating those, like how you meditate or you do your yoga practice, or it's very different for everyone, but finding that thing that serves you the most to create that connection between your mind and body, so that you are supporting your goals, right, as against going against them, is super key. It's like the most important, and it needs to be acknowledged. A lot of times it's actually having conversations with family members who are, there's so many clients that I work with where they want to do it, but their spouse is not on board, or they live in a big family and no one seems to understand. And when that happens, it's impossible. It's impossible to stay consistent with anything. Imagine if you're just put down for trying to make healthy choices, if you're made to feel guilty for not going out to a party, it's going to be hard. So having those conversations with whoever it is, right? And to be clear about what you want and how you can ask for help so that you can get to your goals is also a huge part of that mindset element.
I love that. So you focus on all of that in your program.
So these are the 3 pillars, and that's what we focus on. And that's what the OM 10-week challenge is about. It's literally just working on one element in each of these sections: nutrition, mindset, and movement, and doing this, microdosing them, just showing people what they can do just that week to move the needle, and to make them understand that it's not just about hitting that goal, right? Because I understand that having a goal and getting to it is super important, because that's what drives us, that's what motivates us. But then once that happens, most people don't know what to do after that. So there's a whole other step number 2 to it, where you have to maintain your health, right? Because it's this kind of a lifetime process. You can't just like drop the ball once you get there. So how do you stay consistent even after the 10 weeks, even after the next 10 years? That's what the challenge is about, really. So it's very exciting. And I mean, it's just, I don't know, every single time we go through a round, it's like this whole breakthrough for me, because I see all these women going through it, right? You're seeing someone literally go from point A to point B, and you are watching them every day. And there's a lot of emotional elements to it. There's a lot of friendships made. There's a lot of crying. There's a lot of laughing. And I think that's what makes it so complete. You know, it's not just this health and fitness challenge where we're like, you know, picking up dumbbells and just exercising.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, as you know, I'm a big fan of traditional Chinese medicine, which we are
Yes.
one person. It's not mental health and physical health. So if there's
Yeah,
something going on mentally, there's obviously something going on physically. So I love that you
absolutely.
address the whole person. It isn't just this weight loss challenge, which is fantastic. And, that's all fine and good, but it's a more holistic, well-rounded approach,
Yeah.
which is amazing. So when is that starting?
So we have the next round starting in August. It's actually August 17th, and it's actually open for enrollment right now. So I don't know if you can put a link below, but I can send you
Mhm.
the link to how people can sign up.
Yeah, definitely.
Right now, it's open for women only, and that's because the group is pretty intimate and people are opening up and we're sharing things. And right now, it's just more comfortable for it to be women. And yeah, it's just anyone who has a goal, if they want to just improve their health in any department, or if you just want to take a challenge, because challenge is always fun, then check it out. And I'll be happy to have you in the group. It's coming out really amazing. We have women from Australia and Canada and like all over the world, so it's going to be exciting.
That's awesome. I love that. So, yep, I will absolutely include the link for
Thank
sure in
you.
the comments and as well as in my link tree. Where else can people find you? Obviously, your Instagram is.
I'm on Instagram. That's my favorite spot because I don't know. I post on Instagram and then I do share my post on Facebook, but I'm not kind of on Facebook. So on Instagram, it's just my full name. It's Uma Naralkar. So it is UMANARALKAR. You can probably
I'll
put
include
that in
that
the
as well. Yes.
show notes. And then my company, it's called On With a Twist, which is, you can just go to onwithatwist.com, and there's information about my other programs. I also do one-on-one coaching. I have a private or personalized 8-week course. So there's all the other stuff that I do that's on there. There's also a lot of free resources. So there's recipes and workouts, and I have other free things that people can use. And I think that's why I started On With a Twist. So that's the most important. If you can get something out of this and feel good tomorrow, I think it's a win, right? What we're doing.
100%. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I mean, I know it's
Yeah.
been a long time in the making. I think that, we've
I
tried
know.
since quarantine started. So I think this is perfect timing. I think divine intervention that we're doing it now, right before your program. So thank you so much. And again,
Yeah.
10 out of 10, rate my Skype room. I don't run that handle, but
Oh my God, stop it. I'm serious. I can't get over it.
yeah, it's
That's the next thing I want to go and check out.
oh yeah, no, it's a time suck for sure. It's hysterical. It's amazing. Thank you so
Oh
much,
my
Uma. It was
God.
so good to see you, and I can't wait to see you in person.
Yes, me too. I can't wait to see you and hug you.
I know, me too. Well, right now we'll just hug from a distance,
Well,
but
thank you, Shauna.
yeah, thank you. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.